Boa noite, televidente. Bom-vindo um dia mais a uma edição nova de Mentalidad Efectivo. Meu nome é Paloma Osorio. Maneira boa usar durante o programa aqui nós por 13 temas que são relevantes no qual o manejo financeiro. Agora, essa que está abarcando o viaja diferentes temas. Agora nós temos conosco em estúdio International Leadership Coach que também abre tique de lo que é a mentalidade correta para assim nós por enfrentar vida. Que é o mindset que nós mestres temos. Desde que sabe que é bom-vindo na senhora Jarno van Dijk. Welcome to our program, Meneer van Dijk.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. Sir, I want to ask you something. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, because you're coming from the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit what you're doing here on Aruba.
Well, as a leadership coach, from my business perspective, I train leaders in leadership, how to lead companies, businesses, churches, but as well as in government positions and all kinds of stuff. So I do that here in Aruba, but I travel the world. So we've been to Africa, Eastern Europe, South America, and of course in Europe, where I come from. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit. When I talked to you a while ago, you were talking about what's the correct mindset mm-hmm. to have a good life, actually. So mm-hmm. tell us a little bit about what you think it's the right mindset for us.
Yeah. Well, you know, from my perspective, everybody is created equal.
Okay.
So everybody is a human being who has talents, gifts. You know, you come from a certain place in life, and some people have a bad start, some have a good start, but we are all created equal. Now, what I believe is the difference between success in life and not having success is our mindset. And what I've seen, and that is easy, it's actually proven by studies and examination that, for instance, a project in Dallas, Texas, has shown that the mindset and the vision that comes from a good mindset is crucial to make your life work. So what they did, for instance, in Dallas, Texas, I've read about this, is that from a poor side of the city, they actually relocated entire families who have been in poverty for many decades, even generations. And they moved them to a different side of the city where they have CEOs of big businesses, they had lawyers, doctors, people who are successful in life. And they moved the people from one side of the city to the other side. And within 2 years, these people who were for generations in poverty, they changed their entire mindset. They started dreaming, started develop vision. And within 2 years, they got out of a poverty mindset into actually I look at it as they got room to dream again.
Okay, yes.
And that room that they get, the space that they get in their mind, that created a stage for success, and people actually got jobs, they started businesses, and they got out of a financial deficit and got into prosperity. So I believe that also from that point of view, in my line of work and the message that I bring is a lot about mindset and vision. So how you think, so shall you be.
And how do you think someone can change their mindset? Because we're talking about poverty. It's a mindset.
It is a mindset.
You have business, it's a mindset. Yeah. So how can someone change their mindset for something better?
Well, for instance, it's very important with who you share your life with. So where I come from, it was very hard to think in success, to think in wealth or dreaming about bigger stuff. You know, I come from a background that is very, it has a very small mindset. So when I started talking about traveling the world and reaching people and talking to leaders on leadership level, people in my environment, they said, "You're crazy, nobody in your family ever did this." So I needed to break away from people who were blocking my vision. So sometimes, you know, if you, like for instance, if you're driving a car and your front window is dirty, you need to clean the window. So in the same way in your life, sometimes you need to clean the window. You need to clean the vision. And it doesn't have to be like turning your back on people, but step one in enlarging your vision is looking for people who you can share your vision with, because not everybody who wants to dream want to dream.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm talking about. So a lot of people, they want to break out of a certain situation, but for them to break out of it, change needs to happen.
Yes.
And a lot of people want change, but they don't want to change.
That's the reality we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's easy to dream it, but it's difficult to make the dream happen.
Absolutely.
And I think part of the mindset that you have to have is knowing that you will have to change stuff to make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's this process. And
Yeah.
we like the outcome, but we don't like the process.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit. You've talked that you've been to different nations. What is your experience with the outcome of changing a mindset?
Yeah. Well, of course, in every country, in every situation, it's different, because some people have just like I just said, people have a rough start.
Yes.
So when I've been to Africa, I've been to the slums in Kampala, in Uganda. But when I met people in the slums of Africa, I had a local leader who showed me around, and he said, you know, look at this woman. She has this tiny hut that she was living in, but what she did in that place was she turned, I don't know what it was, like corn into food, and she sold it. But the same corn was growing on a field where everybody could come and get the corn from. But the only thing they did was they got the corn and ate it. But she went to the cornfield, she got the corn, and not just enough for herself, but also to make something out of the corn and sell it. So she started a business. So it's the same as if for instance, you come from a background that your father is an alcoholic. There are two sons. This is a true story. There are two sons, and both of them grew up in the same house, in the same environment, in the same atmosphere, with the same mindset. Father was an alcoholic. Now, both of the brothers, they saw the same, they grew up the same, but one said, I will never become like my father. When you look at the outcome of those two brothers, one of them turned out to be an alcoholic, and the other one didn't. He has a family, he has a business, he is financially going good. But the other one is living in poverty. He got his divorce because of his alcohol addiction. But both had exactly the same start. So people cannot blame the start. People can only blame themselves for the vision that they have or the mindset that they have. And you know, it's very important. Nobody has the right to, let's say, to think for you.
Yes.
You know, nobody thinks for you. You need to make the choice to think for yourself. So you can't blame other people for the way you think. You might blame other people for things that happen to you, but if you keep in that situation of blaming other people and pointing towards your past or pointing towards people around you, you'll stay stuck in the same place. But if you have the guts, if you have the audacity to say, okay, I want to break out of this pattern, I want to break out of this context, the first thing you need to do is change your mind.
And I think we don't understand the power that we have when we have the correct mindset. It won't only affect our future, it affects the future of our family, our children, our generation. So it's very important to understand that. I think I was created for something better. And I think if we understand that part of life, it's not just where we are now, it's where we can be.
Absolutely.
And it starts in how I think of life.
Yeah.
And I think something you mentioned of you have the same family, the same father, the same mother, but you have a different outcome.
Yeah.
So what would be key in changing a mindset?
Key would be, in my perspective, there is a very famous saying from John Maxwell who says that leadership is influence. So if you see yourself as a leader, you'll become of influence. So you lead yourself out of poverty, out of depression, out of certain circumstances. If you only wait for somebody else to get you out of it, you'll wait till the day you die. But if you believe and see yourself as a leader, then that will start the change to become. You know, that's why I always say that when there is a story about the Bahamas, you have a small island in front of Nassau. And for many, many decades, that was called Hog Island because many centuries ago, there was a Spanish ship who sunk in front of the shores of that island. And some hogs who were swimming, came off that ship, they came to Hog Island. And they just multiplied on that small island. And a lot of the people who were living in Nassau, they dumped their garbage on that little piece of land. Now, so for many years, that was the place that people were dumping their garbage. And they called it Hog Island. Now, in the 60s, there was a guy who came from, I think, the United States. And he came in Nassau, and he saw that little piece of land. Now, a lot of people saw the land, but they did not have vision. This guy came, saw the piece of land, saw that little small island in front of the coast, and he said, I have vision for this island. So he got to the government and said, can I buy that little small Hog Island? Now everybody started to laugh at him because they said, this is worth nothing. This is a garbage dump. But he said, no, I have a different vision. So he bought that small island, he built a bridge, and then he changed the name from Hog Island to Paradise Island. And today, it is one of the most expensive places in the Caribbean.
Wow.
So what was the difference? It was vision. So I believe that when you see yourself as a leader, when you see yourself as a person who can lead himself or herself out of a certain situation and get vision for their life, it doesn't matter where you are now, it only matters how you see yourself and how you see your life.
That's tremendo. We say about your mental.
Amazing, awesome.
Yes, it's amazing, it's awesome. And I think there's a saying that says, if you believe it, you can do it.
Amen.
And
That's
I think sometimes we want something, but we don't believe we can make it. And I think the example you gave is perfect because not everyone has to see it. You have to see it and you have to believe it. So with this, Meneer Van Dijk, I thank you for being here in the program. Thank you for opening our mind in what we can be if we truly want this. Anto sa akin televidente me quer bisabo, abot ba tayo dia, onde coloqual ko abot a desenhando, abot ba começar o que é possível, e a parte sa akin abot ba começar a accionar para por logrele. Me quero na Dijk para sintonizar nos ave, invitando para outro semana aqui na mesa, na Tele Aruba.